Good morning, folks. Today is Veterans Day. Today is the day that we honor those who have served honorably in the United States military, be it Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and yes, even Coast Guard. And you know, like I said, have served honorably and are no longer serving. So today I decided I would go ahead and introduce you all to the veterans that we have here. Yeah, they have all served honorably and they are no longer serving, but we are proud of the military heritage that we have here. So without any more ado, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I am an honorably discharged veteran. I did my time, my entire time in the Army National Guard. First part of it was with the 118th Maintenance Company out of Vallejo, California. It was a National Guard unit, and when I moved up here to Nevada, I transferred up to the local unit here in Yerington, which happened to be at that time Charlie Company, 1st the 82nd Cav. So, and then I finished out my my time in service. I did about 7.5 years in, and really enjoyed it. But my interest in, you know, military, all things military, has always been there. And so when I got the chance to go ahead and buy, that's actually the M1010 ambulance is the first one that I purchased. And then the second one was good old Private Parts there. The third one was that M1009. And then of course the M274 Mule here. And the M151 on the far end there, that's Chuck's Jeep. Chuck was a good friend of mine. He was actually one of the first people that I met when I transferred up to Charlie Company, 1st the 82nd Cav. He was a communications sergeant, and we didn't have a supply sergeant at the time, so he was kind of filling in for that. And so we met there and became good friends, and you know, we're friends ever since, up until his passing this past February. So at any rate, let's go ahead and get started with the vehicle introductions. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, that's PFC Butters down there. He's a little out of uniform today, but so we're going to start out today with the M1009 Cuckvy Blazer. This is a 1986, 85 or 86. Basically, it's a Chevy Blazer that's been militarized. It has a 6.2 liter diesel engine, turbo 400 transmission, Dana 44s front and rear as far as axles, and I believe it's a 307 gear ratio. So these actually will do about 70 miles an hour on the highway without any real issues. But because it is a non-turboed, it is kind of a gutless wonder when it comes to pulling hills. But you can see that it is decked out. We've got antenna mounts there. On the inside here, we've got radio racks. I don't have any radios installed, and you'll have to excuse the mess on the floor. But it's set up with blackout drive lights. And unfortunately, the rear window crank on mine broke. I do not know the individual unit history on this particular truck. But there it is. That's the M1009. That's the Blazer. The next one we're going to go to is my M1010 ambulance. It's a 1985 Chevy K20. It's actually a K30 because this truck is actually rated at 1.25 tons. It's got a Dana 60 Kingpin in the front and a corporate 14 bolt in the rear. 456 gears, I believe, and it's got a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated diesel with a turbo 400 behind it and an NP208 transfer case behind that. She won't go very fast anywhere. With the 456 gears at 55 miles an hour, it's running real close to the high end of the RPM range. So, but it is that big unit up top there is air conditioning for the rear body. There is no air conditioning for the driver and passenger, of course. And this one is, I don't have the radio bracket in here right now, but this one is equipped, can be equipped with a radio. Same thing, blackout drive lights. Now I have put on a set of wigwag red lights in the back, and that is for, I have used this in support of the off-road races as a medical support vehicle. And I just like to have flashing red lights on the back of it if I have to go down course. Now the one thing that I have added to it is I have added a trailer hitch, which the ambulances were never designed to carry trailers, and I also put backup lights on it so I can see what I'm doing when I'm backing this thing up at night. But this also has a diesel fired compartment heater for the compartment, the patient compartment in the back. And that's what this other little exhaust pipe here is for. And I had to take the Red Cross off of this side here. It didn't fit real well, and the wind up here decided it was going to try to rip that thing off and fling it into the next county. So there you have it. That's a pretty good little walk around on the M1010 ambulance. I can open up the back, and I'll open up the back and show you the back. The back, unfortunately, I've had to use this thing as storage for a lot of military stuff. So yeah, sorry about that. I don't have enough room in my shop to store all that stuff, so in order to keep it from getting destroyed, it has to be out here in the ambulance. I've tried to keep it as original as I possibly can. But I've had to make some adjustmts to the charging system on it. For those that don't know, the CUCV program, which stands for Civilian Utility Cargo Vehicle, was something that the Army came up with in order to keep the wear and tear down on things like the Humvees and basically off-road tactical vehicles. These were used primarily on post, out in the field on post, but most of the components on it were commercially available. The electrical systems on them, of course, they had to have the capability to be able to jump start on or off of a 24 volt tactical vehicle. So the starters are 24 volt, but most of the rest of the lighting and all of the running components on these trucks were 12 volt. So you could go down to Napa or O'Reilly's, Kragen's, whatever, AutoZone, and pick up a headlight or marker lights or turn signal lights, whatever, you know, for these things if they burn out. So it greatly reduced the cost of maintaining these things. So we'll go to the next one here. This is Chuck's mule. This is an M274. I believe it's an A2 mule. This one here was made in delivered in February of 1966. And it originally belonged to, or at least it had markings on it for U.S. Navy. So those of you that are more interested in this particular mule and what we've done to get it back up and running, I'll go ahead and post a link down at the end, probably at the end of my video here, for the maintenance work that we've done on this one. And of course, everybody knows good old Private Parts here. Private Parts in M151A1. The data plate shows that it was delivered in 62. So I'm not real sure if it's an A1, but at any rate, behind Private Parts today, we've got an M416 trailer. And this is in the early, has the early tail light configuration on it. This particular one happens to belong to, was Chuck's, and it was closer to Private Parts to hook up to bring up here. So that's the one that got hooked up to Private Parts. Now we have gone ahead and put the put the side curtains and the doors back on them because it was 23 degrees out this morning. So, and then last but not least, we have Chuck's M151, and we will be doing some more work on this. The markings for Chuck's 151 are for 221 Cav, Delta Troop, 221 Cav, or Delta Company as it was called at the time, which was the unit in Yerington, and that's what the guard unit in Yerington was during most of Chuck's time in the guard down there in Yerington. And that was the unit it was before it became 1st E82nd Cav, which had been that for about a year before I transferred up here. Now, Chuck's 151 has an A2 windshield on it. And the reason why Chuck put an A2 windshield on it was because the A2s have electric windshield wipers and a one-piece windshield. Chuck used to work for a TV station up in Reno, and he lived in Carson City. He had a hard top on this, on his Jeep here, and he used to drive this Jeep from Carson City to Reno in the winter time, and so he needed to have something with a little bit better wipers than the vacuum wipers that came standard on an A1. And we've also gone ahead and put the doors on Chuck's Jeep to go ahead and protect it a little bit more from the weather. And then Chuck's Jeep has got another 416 trailer. This is mine here. And I've installed on this one mainly because I didn't have the early style, but it has later style turn signals, which are a little bit brighter. Makes it a little bit better for folks to see coming up behind you. At any rate, So there we go. There are the veterans that I have here. That you'll, like I said, you'll be seeing them off and on the channel. So there you have it, folks. Here are the veterans. Just remember, please, today is the day that we honor our veterans. This is not the day that we honor those that served and that were killed in combat and that never came home to see their families. That day is Memorial Day, and so it's important to know and understand the difference. Today is the day that we honor those veterans, the World War II veterans. There's very few of them left. The Korean War veterans, very few of them left. The Vietnam veterans. If you know a Vietnam vet, welcome them home. They didn't get the proper welcome home that the World War II veterans and Korean War veterans and the Desert Storm veterans and the Global War on Terror veterans. Those guys all got, welcome homes. The Vietnam vets never did. And the M274 here, mule here, this is a Vietnam vet. Private Parts, that's a Vietnam vet. Chuck's Jeep over there, that's also a Vietnam era vet. Now, I don't know if any of those vehicles served overseas, but they're representative of those that did. The bumper numbers on Private Parts, and I know I have gone ahead and explained it before. The bumper numbers on Private Parts are the unit markings that would have been the unit that my ex-father-in-law served with during his time over in Vietnam. So, at any rate, bottom line is, thank you all for watching the channel. Thank you all for watching this video. Please remember to thank a veteran for their service. All right, folks, I want to thank you guys again for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.